Welcome to the Canby City Council regular meeting for April 3rd, 2013. If you will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, I'd appreciate it. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence, please. Great, thank you very much. Two quick announcements before getting into the proclamations. If you are here for the Fred Meyer public hearing, that has been canceled and moved to the first meeting in May, which is May 1st. Thank you, Kim. So feel free to stick around if you want, or if you don't want to, that's fine as well. The other thing is we're continuing from, we had a work session earlier this evening, just updating some policies and operating guidelines for us as counselors and the mayor here so that we're being above board and doing our due diligence correctly and without getting into any trouble, right, Joe?
Correct.
Thank you, sir. So, with that, I'm going to shuffle some papers and find my proclamations for this evening. The first one is the proclamation for National Library Week. Whereas libraries everywhere play a vital role in supporting the quality of life in their communities, and whereas our nation's school, academic, public, and special libraries make a difference in the lives of millions of Americans today more than ever, and whereas librarians are trained professionals helping people of all ages and backgrounds find and interpret the information they need to live, learn, and work in a challenging economy, and whereas libraries serve as crucial technology hubs for people in need of free web access, computer training, and assistance finding job resources, and whereas libraries are part of the American dream, places for opportunity, education, self-help, and lifelong learning, and whereas library use is up nationwide among all types of library users, continuing a decade-long trend, and whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week. Now, therefore, I, Brian Hodson, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Canby, do hereby proclaim April 14th through the 20th as National Library Week, and call upon individuals, schools, churches, organizations, and business establishments in the city of Canby to visit the library this week and to take advantage of the wonderful library resources available at your library. You belong at your library. Given unto my hand this third day of April 2013 in the city of Canby, Oregon. And with that, I think I have Ms. Penny here to accept and give some comments.
Shall I come up when you...
Why don't you make comments while I'm signing on this wonderful piece of paper?
Well, every year we come back for the same reason in April for National Library Week, which is celebrated, as the proclamation indicates, all over the country. It's an opportunity for all kinds of libraries to be recognized and for citizens to visit the library, enjoy the riches that we offer. So I wanted to particularly point out we have a special celebration this year for National Library Week. One of our Music in the Stacks programs on Saturday, April 20th at 2:30 p.m. We're having a group called Rhythm Culture, which plays reggae, Caribbean music, and it's quite popular. They fuse blues and jazz into their brand of reggae music. So we encourage anyone who'd like to hear some wonderful free music to come to the library on the 20th at 2:30 p.m. I'd also like to introduce Teresa Enderly from the Friends of the Library, because one of the other ways people can support the library is through the Friends of the Library store at the library. So, Teresa.
Yeah. So I'm excited to represent the Friends of the Library. We have come up with a button that we started selling at the flea market and support your library. So I brought one for each of you to help support us during Library Week. But the Friends are very dedicated to growing the library, providing a service that is not really anywhere else in downtown Canby. So we're very proud of what we do and are excited about the coming events in the next couple of years for the library. So we appreciate your support, and I have a Love Your Library button for each of you. Handmade by my daughter. Wow, she's creative. You missed the cupcakes at the flea market, too. They were really good.
Cupcakes.
Thank you, we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Try not to stab myself here.
Yeah, I know, be careful, I already did that.
Well, I have a penchant for doing things like that, so. Well, wonderful. Penny, thank you. Thank you, Teresa, as well.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'll be there for some reggae. Thank you. Perfect. And then the second proclamation is a Sarah Kingsborough here. Perfect. So this proclamation is for Grange Month. Whereas the National Grange of the Order of Patrons of Husbandry is celebrating 145 years of service to America, and the Oregon State Grange will celebrate 140 years of service at their state convention this June here in Canby. And whereas Grange programs are family-oriented, beginning with Junior Grange for children of ages 4 through 13, for the purpose of getting children involved with their community, with agriculture, and with good citizenship, and Grange membership includes full voting rights and the right to hold office at age 14. And whereas the service through educational efforts of the Grange and its members have aided innumerable people, both in and out of the order, to reach their full potential as leaders and people, and whereas the service of nonpartisan legislative advocacy of the Grange through the unified efforts of its membership have immeasurably benefited local communities and our nation as a whole. And whereas the fellowship and family atmosphere of the Grange have served millions of Americans by strengthening the social connections through a multitude of activities, and whereas Grangers are supportive of agriculture, rural America, and American values as these form the bedrock of American society, and whereas the Grange continue to serve every American through their hometown roots. Now, therefore, I, Brian Hodson, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Canby, hereby proclaim the month of April as Grange Month in the city of Canby, and do urge all of those in Canby area to support and promote this observance. Given unto my hand this 3rd day of April, 2013. And Sarah, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. The city of Canby is served by 2 Granges. We have Warner Grange, which is at the north end of town on New Era Road, and then Maplewood Grange, which is on Highway 99E at the south end of town. And both have been in the community for over 100 years. We are very excited to bring our state convention here to Canby this year. It'll be at the Canby Grove on June 17th through the 21st, and I know we reached out to your office already to come and greet. We have 200 to 300 delegates from around the state of Oregon who will be here, as well as supporting businesses in the area and doing the work of our organization. We also, on a local level, we have a community forum coming up next week at Warner Grange to discuss some of the safety issues that we've seen on New Era Road and in our immediate area. Last summer, there was a construction worker that was killed on our road right down from the Grange Hall. We did a fundraiser for the family, but then another month ago, we had an accident where our fence and a neighbor's fence got destroyed, and just people go too fast in that area. So we have some postcards to hand out to each of you this evening. We would love your support at that, even though we're outside of the city limits, but to get some of that community support and discuss those safety issues and see what we can do as citizens in the community. So thank you very much for the recognition, and of course, you are all invited and encouraged to attend any of our Grange events and know that we are here serving the community. Thank you.
Councilor Parker made the suggestion, there's looks to be several of your party here that are Grange members. Would you like to introduce them that are here tonight? If they want to.
Sure. I'll let them stay, and we would love a group photo with you as well, too. So, again, my name is Sarah Kingsborough. I'm the lecturer here locally, also the master or president of all the Granges in Clackamas County.
Wow.
My dad, Don Kingsborough, is over there.
Hi, Don.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for coming. while she put me
Oh,
on the
he's
floor,
gonna give a
I have to
speech
tell
now.
you, these are not food, these are art objects, and so what
Oh.
you do with them is up to you.
Joe, are we, based on our last work session? Is it better if it's food?
You don't have to declare them.
I don't have to declare them? Okay.
Destroy the evidence.
Yeah, based on our earlier workshop, I needed to make sure the buttons and the toffees or taffies okay.
We have one of our junior rangers here, Dylan. If you want to stand up.
Hi, Dylan.
The Master of Warner Grange, Terry Mize.
Hello, Terry. Thank you.
And then Jim and Eileen Dale, who are officers. Yes, related to the council president, Mr.
I
Dale.
was just saying, I knew we were in the greatness
Oh, yeah.
of Grange lore here.
We are.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's our
Can I ask
Grange?
a question?
Absolutely.
How many members do you have in both the Granges that represent Canby?
There, I would say there's about 50 members currently in both of those Granges combined. Yeah, we have, I represent all of Clackamas County, there's about 500, and then at the state level, there's about 6,000 across the state, of which there will be delegates or representatives coming to our state convention in June,
Okay,
a few hundred, so.
thank you.
Thank you. I will give this to you. Photo if you'd like, yeah. Thank you so much. Convention, that'll be
Yes,
fun weekend.
it is a fun week. You guys, come on.
Do you want me to handle the camera for you?
Yes, thank you. It's real technical camera there.
My grandfather was a member of the Lyndon Washington Grange, so it's neat seeing you folks here.
He would appreciate it if you joined our group.
I'm not much of a
I'm not a farmer.
terrific. Thanks so much for being here.
I have to take a lesson from Eileen first on how to use her
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dylan. See you guys later. Okay. Well, thank you for that. We'll move into any communications at this point.
I have none here.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, it's our first opportunity for citizen input and community announcements. I have two cards here. Bob, we're going to let ladies go first. So, Ms. Doolittle, if you'd like to come on up.
Good evening. My name is Bev Doolittle, and I'm the Executive Director of the Canby Area Chamber of Commerce. And I have a couple things here to share with you this evening. The first one is our annual Shred Day, and you are each getting a little reminder card of that. This will take place on Thursday, April 18th, from noon to 5 at the Clackamas County Event Center. This is a very popular activity that we have here in town. We work with the K-Hoot Services and the Event Center and Canby Telephone, the Office of Sustainability, and Pioneer Pump to put this event on. We see over 300 vehicles come through, and just want to remind everybody that this is coming up, so save your things and bring it down to Shred Day. The other thing, we brought it up at last month's meeting, is the business safety is everybody's business. And this is a event that is, or workshop that has transpired because of recent activities in town. And the businesses here, and we're working with the City of Canby, the Police Department, the Fire Department, and the Canby Herald to bring a workshop. So the Chamber has designated April as Business Safety Month, and we're encouraging all businesses to reach out to their neighbors, to get to know them, to find different avenues of business safety that they can do for themselves to make their employees, their businesses, and everything else safe. So we are going to be having a workshop on Thursday, April 18th. Yes, the same day as Shred Day, only this is an evening one. It is 6:30 to 8. Will be held at the Canby Police Department Community Room. The Fire Department, the Police Department, and Willamette Valley Security will be speaking. SOS Locks will be there also for question and answers. So you can come in with specific things that you're asking or want to know about, and hopefully we will find these answers out for you. So we're just trying to be proactive and make sure that the citizens and the businesses are aware of the things that are out there for them to help in the safety of their businesses. So that's what I have.
I want to say thank you as well, because the Chamber Luncheon was also the focus of that on Tuesday, and there was a couple of eye-opening tidbits there in terms of safety and security regarding, computers and internet, and what we think is safe on our phones is not as safe as we think it is, even with, safety precautions and whatnot that we take. So it was very informative, and so I appreciate you and partnering up with the city here and spearheading this piece for our businesses. I think it's great.
The information that was handed out, we had banking, internet, telephone, police, fire, and security were all there. And we have compiled all the information that they passed out and are putting together a little handouts. So if you as a business owner or an individual weren't able to come to that, then we have this information available for you also. So there will be a little booklet at the chamber office that you can come, a packet that you can come pick up and go. Great information. And then the Canby Herald is going to be running business safety tips all month also in the Canby Herald.
Yeah, the paper this month, or on Tuesday, the article was very good, and the Chamber President's letter was also very good. So, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, this is both to Bev and to Greg. I can't remember if it's last meeting, this meeting, the last time or the time before, but Judd Palmer came and talked about batteries, and then we talked about fluorescent light disposal, and you thought maybe someday, maybe not this time, you could work that in. Have we had any more discussions on recycling of fluorescent lights and batteries?
Yes. In fact, Judd was going to be here this evening, but things changed a little bit for him. He needs to work with Metro. He had a meeting with Cahoots, and they only collect cell batteries and that kind, not household, the other kind of batteries that Judd was more interested in being able to do. So he's on a different angle now in trying to get that set up. But they have agreed that he can be a resource center there, a drop-off site for household batteries, and he is going to start collecting them. He's hoping to be at Shred Day passing out information to the vehicles that come through so that people are aware that that is a drop-off site for them.
Good.
So,
thanks for that.
that's where I'm at on
And the
that.
light issue or not?
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I didn't go to light bulbs yet.
Yeah.
I'll get there, Rich.
No, I know. I mean, it'll take time to
It's-
set up,
yeah,
because those are
it's a big
bulky
thing.
and
Sure.
and delicate,
Sure.
so.
Yeah. Anything else?
No?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bev. Mr. Cornelius.
My name is Bob Cornelius, and I'm the chairman of the Canby Utility Board. I'd like to provide you with some information on the library project land acquisition. First of all, a bit of background. In late 1970, Canby Utility Board, CUB, was created by an amendment to the Canby City Charter. It established CUB as an independent governmental subdivision of the city of Canby, solely responsible for the operation, development, production, and distribution of water and electrical services within Canby. The present city charter also states Cub has all the powers and duties of the city, will operate in an orderly, economical, and businesslike fashion, and be free from the jurisdiction, direction, and control of other city officers and the city council. And we come towards the present. Around 2008, a new library and its location was a topic of discussion. When it seemed likely that the downtown property owned by Cub could be involved, Cub actively began planning to relocate in support of the Canby community vision. In so doing, and to meet its fiduciary responsibilities, a new location was found, purchased, and conceptual plans developed. In addition, Cub started placing funds into a reserve account to directly pay for as much of the cost of a move as possible up front, thus saving the Cub ratepayers the added costs of obtaining funds through the bonding process. However, by 2011, the city concluded it couldn't build a library on the whole block without paying more to have Cub and Oliver's relocate immediately. At that point, options for a half-block library emerged that did not require Cub to relocate. The planning for the new library has undergone several major changes, with a definite funded plan that could be moved forward with around August 2012. The plan calls for the new library to be sited using the 2nd Avenue parking lot owned by Cub. The Cub general manager and I have attended some of the planning meetings. On August the 20th, 2012, the Cub general manager proposed in writing to the city administrator a land swap to start negotiations for the needed land acquisition process. No written reply has been received, though there have been several conversations in the interim. In an effort to assist in the negotiating process, on March the 8th, 2013, I wrote to the Canby City Mayor and the Urban Renewal Agency Chairman expressing Cub's values, needs, and responsibilities regarding the new library project. On March the 22nd, 2013, myself, the Cub General Manager, Urban Renewal Agency Director, and the Urban Renewal Agency Chairman met to have an information and perspective sharing discussion. During this meeting, both a land swap and buyout were brought up. The Cub General Manager will write another letter to the city administrator, the two individuals who will be doing negotiations, asking him to explore and provide in writing options for firstly a buyout and secondly a land swap, so negotiations may move forward. It is true that in the interim, there have been some changes that would affect the Cub property, but none that would have brought timely negotiations to a halt. In conclusion, it appears the new library building project is swiftly moving towards hiring a contractor to construct the new library building with subsequent groundbreaking before having possession or owning the land to build upon. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
I listened carefully to the words, Bob, and I appreciate that. We're talking about property negotiations, which generally under ORS 192 are conducted in private. So in bringing this publicly to the council in open session, are you saying that we should do the negotiations for this land swap in open or in private negotiations?
I'm not addressing that.
You brought it up in your letter saying that this needed to happen, but you didn't say whether...
There has to be negotiations.
Right.
Period.
But you didn't say private or public.
No. Because that is between the city administrator and the general manager. They're the ones who are doing the negotiations.
Okay. And
How they do it
then
is
your
up to them.
purpose, so that's happening. So what you want to have happened is happening.
The negotiations?
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. In August, a letter was written to start negotiations. No written reply. 7 months later, you have a project that's just about ready to move forward, to go with getting a contractor, doing a contract with him, and have groundbreaking here within the next few months, and you do not have ownership of the land you're going to build upon.
Okay, but I'm trying to extract a conclusion from that. Do we need to turn up the pressure on our city administrator because he's slacking off and not negotiating with you in good faith, or are the things that you want to happen happening?
My purpose in doing this is to bring it forward to you as the city council, saying this is the situation as it stands right now. It's up to you as the city council what you deem appropriate to do. I think we have shown good faith in trying to do negotiations, but it's kind of getting down to the wire right now as far as I can tell.
But are we negotiating? I'm trying to figure that out. Is that happening?
I think you need to talk to the city administrator and...
Okay, let me ask the city administrator, do we have scheduled negotiations?
I'm waiting for a letter from Matt.
Okay. So, but you're willing to negotiate?
Well, yeah.
And you're willing to negotiate?
Yeah.
So we're having happen what you want to happen?
Just need to set a date, set a time to negotiate.
So we'll put pressure on our guy, and your guy says he's willing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to see if you're asking for anything other than sitting down and negotiating.
I'm not asking for that.
Okay. What are you asking for?
We have asked for it before,
But it's happening now.
in August of last year, in writing.
So you didn't like the timing and the sequencing of this?
Well, not getting anything in 7 months indicates what? Back in writing indicates what?
Okay. So that was then, this is now,
Plus.
and we do have some negotiations that are going to get scheduled, and that's what you want to have happen, right?
That's what I believe the city wants to have happen.
Okay. Well, good.
Myself, we're very happy with what we have now. We have a downtown presence, we have an office downtown, we have a parking lot we can use all the time, and after hours, it's used by citizens. It serves us well. So the city should be the one who wants to negotiate.
And I think we do.
I'm not saying you are or you aren't. I'm just saying what has happened.
So I just want to make sure I'm...
Help me out here, because
Sure.
I think we got a communication problem.
No, you're wanting to know if negotiations are,
Yeah.
if the fact that negotiations are happening satisfies a portion of what he is saying.
That's right. But
Yeah,
the reason you're here is to give us a history lesson, but also, I thought,
To
to
let you-
prospectively encourage us to proceed with negotiations, which is what we're going to be doing,
To let you know what the status is.
right?
You already know that you're going to have a contractor to build the library. That contract's coming up, isn't it?
We haven't signed it yet, but
I know you haven't
that's on
signed it yet.
schedule, but yes. And we're assuming that Cub, being a good community member, is going to negotiate in good faith and help us
And-
produce a
and we
great
will-
community.
we
But
will.
but you talking about having a good place on First Avenue, to me, Bob, sounds a little bit like you're negotiating in public, that you're laying down some of the advantages that you have with your property. And I don't think that's cool.
I'm not talking about negotiating in public. You brought that up. All I'm doing is letting you know the status of the land acquisition
Right.
for the new library.
Mr.
That's
Mayor, aren't
all.
we aware of this fact? Aren't we aware of what the information he just gave to us? We're aware of this, right?
Yes.
And that's why
We
we're
received a
planning
copy of
on
the letter.
negotiating
Yeah.
with Cub at this time.
That is correct.
It's coming very soon.
Yes.
Do we have a date at all? Do we have any idea when we're,
You know, as Mr. Cornelius said, we met on March 22nd, and the result of that meeting was that I was going to wait for a letter from the director of CUB, executive director, and laying out some of the positions that they have in terms of what they would like to see. And so that is coming. I think Matt's usually very timely. He's been on vacation, I understand that. And so I think once that gets back to me, I'm waiting for that because that's what we said was going to happen as soon as that happens.
Well, if with all dispatch, we could proceed with this so that we don't have to waste Bob's time of having him return at another meeting to encourage us to meet. Let's get on with this.
Mr. Mayor.
Well, and let me also, I mean, in the, you brought up, you know, exec session ordinances and whatnot, and that is what I think we need to maintain, that aspect of the conversation, in that the negotiations are occurring, they are happening in exec session. We need to do our best and due diligence to keep them there, and that Matt and Greg will get together post haste and we'll get this moving forward.
Thank you.
Councilor Harrison.
Well, I think it's important, and I hope Bob understands this. There is a track that includes hiring an architect and design and groundbreaking eventually, hiring a contractor, groundbreaking eventually, and building it. But I don't think the city is going to break ground if their ownership of the parcel is not in the city's name. So if that makes you relax a little bit, even if we have a contractor, we're not going to be breaking ground if we don't own the land under the building, period.
I would hope not.
Well, I mean, the implication is that we're going to plow right over the top of you.
No.
I don't think that's the...
There's no implication there at all.
I think Mr. Cornelius was just trying to provide a status
Make us
report
aware.
from his
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
And I thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Okay, we're moving into mayor's business. A whole bunch of stuff for us tonight on my end, so I'll be quick. First up, regarding House Bill 2945, it's the Rural Area Commission on Transportation bill that Representative Kinnemer is putting forward. We've been asked to support that bill, and as it's being brought forward, they're going to be doing hearings on that, I think, later this week or possibly next week. But what that is just it'll be an official creation of a rural area commission on transportation, mostly starting here in Clackamas County. We've got, what this will do is it'll provide us with an opportunity to be able to have access to hard-to-secure transportation funding. So right now in the metro level, we have MPACT, which pretty much handles the Portland metro area from a transportation piece as dollars start to come about. And what the rural one will do, will open up rural Clackamas County to hopefully have representation to be able to get some of those transportation dollars. I talked with Representative Kinnemer's office today and found out that ODOT does not want us to do this, which tells me that we should. They just don't want any more players involved in having more hands in the cookie jar from their perspective. And that's not their words, I'm extrapolating my conversation with his office. Metro is neutral on it, which appears to be a good thing. They're not against us going that route. But looking at the documentation, I sent that out to you guys today to take a look at. Sorry about the short notice on that, but just it plays a role in just helping prioritize local transportation problem solutions and recommending projects for state improvement funds. With this, when this passes, we'll be would enable other rural communities to join us. So right now it would just be Clackamas County, and then so Washington County and Multnomah County rural areas would be able to join this act later on down the road if they saw fit. But right now we really don't have a seat at the table. So what this does is give us an official seat at the table for transportation conversation and whatnot.
I support the idea. I just worry that our census designation taking away our rural status might affect that if they're going to use census definitions. Remember that last year that changed to an urban area.
And that piece does not seem to play into that.
Okay, good.
Because we're outside the metro boundary, therefore considered rural in that.
Well, we talked about the time that census designation may only apply to certain things.
Right.
That we may be considered urban by their standards, but other folks would consider us rural. so-
And that's how I took the
We're
piece. was
urban.
We're rural, urban.
We're Reuben.
So Clackamas County has signed on, Sandy has signed on, Estacada, Malala, and so they're just looking for, from us, if that's something. Kim has drafted a letter already, which we will sit on until Representative Kennemer needs it from us, but, yes, Greg?
Did you say Clackamas County has signed on in terms of they would come with this group also?
No, I mean, that they support the creation of,
Oh.
according to the information I got from Clackamas County, there's 100,000 residents that live outside the metro urban growth boundary, so we look at that transportation piece of the county that has that, it was 60 or 65% of the county is not in the metro, so we have no place at the table for any of those dollars to go after, so we get an afterthought or less, so.
I'd be real curious why ODOT wouldn't be in favor of this, because I would think that they would want a coordinated, I would think that a coordinated effort among the rural communities in Clackamas County would be to their benefit, because then we would be helping prioritize whatever monies were available to where it meets the better good of the rural communities, instead of piecemealing it, which is what occurs today.
Well, and from what I gathered from my conversation today was that because we created legislatively a rural act, Commission on Transportation, that we automatically, there will be an automatic allocation of dollars in some capacity because of that, and that's what we don't have now. And I think that's what ODOT is concerned about. I had some conversation with a gentleman who works for ODOT in Eugene, and he was really surprised that we didn't have a rural Commission on Transportation out here, and he was encouraging that we really kind of browbeat ODOT to make it happen, so.
And that was an ODOT person?
That was an ODOT person.
Was an ODOT person.
Well, he's still.
I think he still is, but yeah.
We won't mention his name for his.
But I do have a visit with ODOT coming up that I will ask them their opinions on this. But so I was really just bringing this to you guys to you all, not just the guys, pardon me, Tracy. Just, thoughts, concerns, or if this was something that you saw value in pushing and helping support, so, okay. Last meeting, I brought up the C4 recommendation pieces about the vehicle registration fees and gas tax, and just want to know if there's any more thoughts or opinions on that, more of an update for everybody here and at home. C4 is the Clackamas County Coordinating Committee that the cities of Clackamas County participate in, and one of the things that we've been working on for the last couple of years has been transportation issues. And one of the things that was derived out of this group was to solve the transportation funding problem, was to present a vehicle registration fee and a gas tax so the vehicle registration fee would almost double, the gas tax of 3 cents within the county. And so they wanted to know, the group, in terms of next moves, was to take it to the Board of County Commissioners to either do nothing, say thanks, we appreciate it, we're not going to move on this, have them vote on it, or put it out to the voters to vote on it. And then there were some concerns that were put out there that fuel-efficient cars are not paying more to offset the fuel tax. How does the money get split between the county and the cities? And then what was the project selection prioritization? How would that work within each city or within the county? So a few pieces still to be worked out. Rich.
Well, I just have a concern that all of a sudden this is moving again with very little, from what I can see, follow-up from the meeting that was held 3 years ago. And roughly, how long have you been here?
3 years.
3 years?
This month.
I think it was Greg's first meeting as our city administrator. He and I attended a meeting on this subject up at the county offices where those same ideas you just talked about were floated, and that's 3 years, and nothing really seems to have happened in 3 years. We expressed, because we had just gone through some discussions in our goal setting and whatnot at the time. And one of our goals, if you will, wasn't necessarily a priority, but one of our goals was to get the county-owned roads inside the city limits, Maple, Redwood, Ivy, Pine Street, North Pine, North Redwood, and I think there are 7 or 9 of them, something like that. The ones that are so bad shape in those neighborhoods, those are not our roads. That's why they're not in good shape. They're county roads. And so we brought up that one of things we would like to see is if there was money available in a plan, however it came out, that we would like to see the county bring those roads up to standard, and then we would take over, and they would not have to deal with them ever again. And they immediately said, oh, from your share of the money, you will split that with us. And we said, that isn't what we said. Anyway, so from my perspective, I have seen nothing on that subject since, for years. And now all of a sudden, they're moving down on a path that is maybe assuming that we meaning the rural cities, are buying off on whatever plan they have, and I haven't seen anything in writing anyway.
Nothing. I haven't seen anything.
And that concerns me greatly. If they're wanting us to buy into something that we haven't seen after 3 years.
Yeah, and that's the project piece for me, is what's that, is that, if we put forth 2 projects and Lake Oswego doesn't put anything through, are they going to want to vote for a gas tax that's going to go to Canby for 2 of their projects?
What I think is more important than the project list is the formula of how the monies are divided.
Distributed, yeah.
Because until you know the formula and the process of how the monies are divided, you can't really put forth your project list. I mean, we could give them a project list, it'd be a mile long and 3 miles wide, but until you know how they will break up the money, what percentage goes to urban cities, incorporated areas, and unincorporated areas, because they pointed out to us in that meeting 3 years ago that the needs in the unincorporated parts of the county, outside of the city limits of Molalla and Sandy and Canby, et cetera, was 7 to 10 times what the dollar value that they were talking about of this program. And so our concern was, what's in it for us if we go along with it, and throw our hat into the pot. It could hurt us more than not even break even on what we get now. So until they, I think, put some meat on the bone, so to speak, so that you can see what the plan is, I don't know how we could support or not support it. I mean, something needs to be done, but
I agree.
There needs to be more information.
Other thoughts on? Okay.
I like road money.
I like road money as well, but I'll take, that's, a lot of that's what's concerns that, I have, as well as what's that, how are we divvying that up, and how does that play out? So, all right, I will take that back to them, and,
Thanks for keeping an eye on that.
well, it's been a long, arduous process to get to this point. We've been dealing with it for 3 years, and here we are talking about doubling vehicle registration fees and 3-cent gas tax on top of, we take care of our own. And a lot of the roads that you brought up, Rich, too, was, I had some conversation with Matilda, and some of those are on pieces of land that, when they get annexed
Will be,
and get developed, those roads will be improved, but that's still, that brings it down some, but
When is that?
when does that occur? But until that happens, we're still dealing with deteriorating roads, so, great. I just want to give a quick thank you to Ackerman Middle School for hosting Olympian Lopez Lamont was here, a long-distance runner a couple weeks back, and the junior high students did an amazing job hosting him and all their guests for that event, so I want to thank Principal Turner and the students for doing that. Reminder to the council that the city's dinner this month we are hosting, so I know that Councilor Parker has other engagements, but...
I do too.
Okay.
Same.
So if you guys could be available for that, that'd be great. Do we need to RSVP to you, Kim, or, okay, just checking. And the last bit of conversation piece is tonight we are, as part of the consent agenda, getting into the Historical Society,
Historic Review Board.
Thank you, the Historical Review Board. And we need to have some discussion on who would like to be the liaison from that group that we will talk about in new business down at the, later on. I just want to give you guys,
Start thinking about it.
just lobbing that out there for,
Our old minds take a little while to process, is that what you're saying, Mayor?
I wasn't saying nothing, Councilor Parker. It's all in the attitude, right? Okay. So we'll move that to new business, and so, fantastic. We'll start with Councilor Ayers with liaison report, sir.
No report.
No report. Thank you, sir. Ms. Hensley.
Mr. Mayor, I attended the Main Street Promotions Committee meeting on the 1st, on Monday night, and the discussion is all about the Garden Spot Run. So I just want to remind everybody again to go to www.gardenspotrun.com for more information and registration for the fun run, the 5K, 10K, kitty run, or doggy dash taking place on May 4th, Saturday, May 4th. And I attended the chamber luncheon yesterday, which was fantastic. Thank you again to Bev for all that information. And for those viewers and those in the audience who might not know, I just wanted to say thank you to Fireman Troy. If you don't know, his last day is going to be Friday here in Canby. He's retiring from Canby only to have a new career come Monday. But he'll have 2 days of retirement, so I just wanted to say thank you to Fireman Troy. Canby will miss you.
Very much so.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I have the good fortune to be a member of the Canby Main Street program, and I just would like to say Jamie Stickle and Renata Mengelberg have done a wonderful job. One of the things I get to do is review some of the facade improvements that are coming along or scheduled to take place. And, you know, I just think about an annual event that takes place here in Canby every year, the car show in Waite Park. And, you know, a lot of the folks that come out to those maybe only come out to Canby once a year. And I was just thinking back of all the improvements, all the facade improvements that they will see this year versus the way it was this last summer. So I really think that's a very important investment in our community because growth is so important to the overall health of our community, and I really feel like if we continue this path, it's just going to fall more like dominoes, where more and more building owners are going to want to get on board, and that just makes this community so much more inviting to a prospective business or people that want to live here and move here, and it helps the whole community. So I'm a big proponent of that, and just like to acknowledge that.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I attended the city-county dinner last month in Wilsonville, where we learned about the Healthy Cities program. It's very interesting, physical health. It was ironic, the menu was pretty incredible Italian pasta and desserts. But the talk was good.
And where was it held?
At McMenamin.
All right, so pasta and then beers afterwards, okay.
And Healthy Cities, but it's good.
Beer's healthy.
I've been using my pedometer.
I have, yes.
On the Canby utility front, they are beginning to look at the long-range water supply for decades ahead, just getting up on planning for that. And with the Knightsbridge substation, the transformer has arrived and has been placed, as you remember last time. Geek Entertainment.
You've been down there.
I got to go down. I sent you all pictures.
Yes, sir.
That's what I do for entertainment. And the steel for the substation arrived a little earlier than we thought, and you can already see it starting to poke up into the skyline. Construction has started. So things are well on the way there, and that will bring a substantial savings to Canby Utility ratepayers. So once that substation's online, we will no longer pay a transmission fee to PGE for using their substation. And finally, as unofficial liaison to the Grange, I need to say, hi, Mom. And Dad.
Yeah, don't forget Dad.
Cousin, oh, he left. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
I envy your deep roots, Counselor. As liaison of the Main Street, I'm lucky as liaison here. I've got two very active fellow counselors that are working on the program. Tracy helping with the promotions, and Clint also your support. Thank you for letting me at least point out that we do have a First Friday coming up, and so encourage everybody to come down, and weather's going to be mild, and we got getting some of the blooms on the First Avenue, and Clint, you were talking about people coming back to the car show. What I'm excited about is 4th of July. when we had all the streets torn up, and we had a record number of people coming to the city and having them come back and see our town without a hole in the middle. I attended the city's meeting, and no, it wasn't just because it was held at McMinimans. But I did spend some time talking to the county's tourism director, and came back with an idea that I passed along to the city manager, and it may in fact result in some increased tourism marketing funds coming into the city. So that'll be coming to you lately, but I tried to justify my presence at that meeting, so we'll see if that works.
Mr. Mayor, no report.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt the minutes of the February 23rd, 2013 City Council special meeting, the minutes of the March 20th City Council work session and regular meeting, a new outlet liquor license for Rice Time Restaurant, appointment of John Baker to the Historic Review Board for a term to end June 30th, 2014, appointment of Rebecca Goodfellow for a term to end on June 30th, 2015, and appointment of John Surlett to the Historical Review Board for a term to end on June 30th, 2016.
All right. So moved. Second? Moved by Councilor Dale, seconded by Councilor Ayers to adopt the minutes of the February 23rd, 2013 City Council special meeting, minutes of the March 20th City Council work session and regular meeting, a new outlet liquor license for Rice Time Restaurant, appointment of John Baker to the Historic Review Board for a term to end June 30th, 2014, appointment of Rebecca Goodfellow for a term to end on June 30th, 2015, and appointment of John Surlett to the Historic Review Board to a term to end on June 30th, 2016. All those in favor?
Aye.
Seeing none, 6-0, please. Thank you. And thank you for those wonderful people for signing up for the review board. That's great. All right, so there is no public hearing. Moving into you, Kim.
Okay, the next item we have is Resolution 1155. This is adopting the Canby Economic Development Strategy, and Renata Mingelberg will present this resolution.
You've had a chance to review the executive summary and several versions of the economic development strategy as it's evolved, and we've gotten positive input and great new information that has made it even better. So the latest version you have before you is new and improved. And so this is a policy document that will guide economic development efforts for the next 4 to 6 years, or as economic climate and opportunities change, and as we check a lot of things off the list. And it got input from key constituents, including you, of course, the Canby Business Community Response Team, our partners at the city, the state, and the region, and Chamber of Commerce reviewed it several times. And so a lot of eyes have been on it. A lot of partners that I'll be working with to implement it are supportive of it. It not only does it provide strategy, but it also pulls together a lot of work that's happened over the past year, including the Canby Vision that was just adopted on March 20th, the business cluster analysis that was presented to you in January, the retail market analysis that was finished in August, the business survey that was conducted last March, as well as the Clackamas County Economic Preparedness Assessment that was conducted in October. So lots of current information that went into shaping this strategy. It provides an overview of the many strengths and attributes and challenges that Canby has. It talks about the key industry clusters that are the drivers of our economy. It provides an overview and an assessment of strengths and weaknesses of our major employment areas, including the Canby Pioneer Industrial Park, Highway 99E, and the downtown core area. And then it develops some an economic development-related mission, goals, and vision that are consistent with existing goals and missions that are already in place in the city. The strategy focuses on 3 core areas: supporting existing businesses, recruiting new businesses and development, and ensuring that Canby remains an attractive place to do business. It also divides the various initiatives into ongoing efforts, initiatives for the upcoming year or short-term, and then longer-term initiatives. So I'll go through the ones that are on the list for this year, just so you know. For supporting existing businesses, we're looking to convene the top 3 industry clusters that were identified in the analysis. That includes clean tech, metals and machinery, and ag and food production. So those would be meetings with key businesses in those areas to understand what their challenges are, what their opportunities are, and how we can rally resources to help them succeed. And then to continue business retention and expansion outreach to local companies, we plan to visit 15 to 20 businesses each year. And then in terms of recruiting new businesses and development, to update marketing brochures and flyers, we already have quite a few, but we need customized ones for our industry clusters. To also begin proactively reaching out for some of the retail targets that were identified in the retail analysis. And then to develop and implement an expedited development review process. I'll be working with our planning director and planning staff on that to make sure that it's clear and easy to understand and as seamless as possible for our businesses. And in terms of ensuring that Canby remains an attractive place for business, we're going to be, of course, building the extension of Sequoia Parkway to 13th this year. And then I'll be working with the state of Oregon to recertify our shovel-ready sites. It's been about 3 to 4 years now. It's been outdated, and the program has changed in the last year. So we want to get that started again, because that's a powerful marketing tool. So that's a summary of what would be coming to you this year, and then the longer-term strategies are in the report. I won't go into a lot of detail on that. I'll be coming to you every year, bringing you an updated executive summary, including metrics or measures of success that were outlined in the report. It's a living document. It will grow and change over time, and as the economic climate changes and opportunities come forward. So with that high-level overview, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Renata, first thing I want to say thank you. There's a lot of work went into this, and it's very well detailed and laid out. I have tons of questions. No, I do have several. I like the, at the back, I was reading this version first, and so I was glad to see in the back of our packet was the, pardon me, the measures of success page, because I know that was a lot of feedback and concern for me. As I was reading this, wasn't a lot of, how do we measure it? How do we know that these strategies are going to bring business? We don't know if it'll bring business. That's the hope, that's the goal, but how do we measure which strategies are working better than others? And so I thank you for putting that piece in there. The questions I have, so on that page is going down, so when we talk about the increase in total assessed value, which I think is a great metric to use, how often do we get those numbers? Is that a yearly?
Yes, that's
yearly?
every year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the attendance piece at city-sponsored forums and events, how do we measure the, I think of like the 4th of July parade, that Councilor Parker brought up. How do we know we're better this year than last year?
It's easier to do for workshops.
Okay.
But where the event organizers know that, we would collect that as well. But we're focusing more on the business side of it. So businesses participating in First Friday, businesses that are coming to the Industrial Forum, those kinds of measures that are directly tied to what we do.
The down underneath the business growth indicators, so the reduction of vacant commercial and industrial space and land, I know a great number is 0 occupancy. What's an acceptable percentage? What's that?
Zero vacancy.
Sorry, what did I say?
You said zero occupancy.
Oh, gosh, no, sorry. Zero vacant, thank you for catching that. No, that, I'm glad you can't. No, I want zero vacancy.
Let the record show.
Yeah, let the record show that, yeah.
You actually don't want zero vacancy, because then you don't have room for existing businesses to grow.
Okay.
So you want to be ahead of the curve a little bit, but you don't want to have industrial or commercial product that doesn't fit with the market needs. So, for instance, some of our vacant retail spaces have been vacant for a long time, partly because there hasn't been market demand, but partly because they're too big for what the market needs right now. So that's why we have the revolving loan program that can help the property owners, should they so choose, to subdivide it so that it's meeting the need more. And I am a little concerned we don't have very many industrial spaces anymore. The Pico building is perfect, but that's, there's one other on the market, and that's where the demand is right now in existing buildings. It's slowly shifting over to greenfields, which I'm very happy about, because we have a lot to offer in that regard.
No, yeah, the spec building piece is not as popular. I mean, there's a need for it, but who pulls the trigger on making that happen? The other piece, looking at this too, Renata, there's a lot here. This is a lengthy to-do list. So help me understand kind of, so with limited time, limited resources, you and Jamie, in terms of manpower, dollars, how do we take this and how do we prioritize what we do? Now, some of this is kind of ongoing, and as it percolates up, we address it, we go chase it down, but those other things that are truly putting